Good evening. Welcome to the September 20th meeting of the Mount Vernon City School District Board of Education, and we will start with a roll call. Oh, please stand for the pledge. Correct. Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we shall commence with a roll call.
Ms. Saunders,
Here.
Dr. Nying, Ms. Farron, Mr. Rose,
Here.
Mr. McDowell, Ms. Miller, Trustee White, Ms. White,
Present.
Mr. McOwen,
Present.
Mr. Zamore,
Present.
or Ms. Present, sir.
Beautiful. And now I believe we're going to entertain the motion to go into executive session. Not yet. Oh, the award. We're going to do that first?
Yeah.
Not,
Yep.
okay, all right.
All right. This evening, we are at the top of our agenda. We are proud to present a night light presentation. This evening, we are presenting to Norm Savoy, who is representing the Mount Vernon Star Scholars. And just to give you a little information about the Mount Vernon Star Scholars, it was founded in 2011. And because college applications and the selection process can be one of the most daunting tasks for students, the Mount Vernon Star Scholars is a 2-year program designed to assist a select group of academically talented students in Mount Vernon high schools to gain admission into selective U.S. colleges and universities. Once designated as a Mount Vernon Star Scholar, a student will receive one-on-one guidance from a volunteer mentor, and they assist with SAT and ACT prep, evaluating potential colleges, including visits, navigating the college application process, comparing offers of admission, and securing financial aid for students. The program has been very successful since 2014. The program has been steadily growing and continued success. One of the scholars is actually has been admitted to Harvard University, and as the program continues to grow, they are seeking additional volunteers. And this evening, we are proud to present the night light presentation to Mr. Savoy, and the plaque reads as follows. The Mount Vernon City School District presents the Nightlight Award to Norm Savoy for his contributions to the Mount Vernon City School District through his founding of this Mount Vernon Star Scholars Program, and this is presented by me, the Superintendent of Mount Vernon City School District, on September 20th, 2016. And on behalf of all the children in Mount Vernon, particularly those who have been beneficiaries of this great work, I'd like to congratulate and thank Mr. Savoy for his contribution.
Yeah, so we can. Thank you. With the chills too low.
You want to look down? So be it, my dear.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to thank the board for recognizing us. We're very happy and very proud to be able to give back to the community and to help some of the students who've achieved a lot in our public high schools. I want to just take a few moments to thank the people who've helped me in this program. There are a lot of people that make what we do successful, particularly Darcy Miller, who couldn't be here tonight, unfortunately, but she was she was the first person I brought on. We never would have got the program off the ground without her. Our board members, Bill Adams, who is here tonight, Donna Scarrett, Jim Keating, Robin Harmon Myers, who had served on our board. I want to thank the mentors who are absolutely instrumental. They're the core of what we do. We're lucky enough to have one of the mentors here tonight, Steve Ball. And obviously, I want to thank the people in the schools, the principals, the guidance counselors. They've been very welcoming to us, given us access to the students, been very supportive, and obviously, the students themselves and their parents. And there's a lot of great students doing a lot of great things in the Mount Vernon schools.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just ask a question? Sorry. Can you just expound a little bit on what your needs are and how we can help you do even more great things in Mount Vernon, what it takes to be a mentor, and how people can get more information about that?
Yeah, absolutely. As there was explained before, we're a 2-year program. It's mentor-based, so each student is assigned a mentor. They work one-on-one. So we're always looking for mentors. Basically, we're looking for people who have some connection to the community, who are committed to working with the students. We ask them to put in about an hour a week working with the students. That's the main thing that we need in order to grow the program. We've graduated 7 students. We have 9 students in the program now, and we'd like to grow it a little bit more. So, if anyone has any interest, our web address is www.mvstarscholars.org. You can get more information there. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So now I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session.
For the
Rick?
purposes of discussing matters relating to the appointment of a person or persons.
I'll second.
All right. And we expect to be about how long?
20 minutes. Yep.
20 minutes? About 20 minutes. This should be a short one.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
All right. We're going to reconvene the meeting, and I'd like to make a motion to reconvene public session.
Second. Motion, second.
Aye.
Aye.
Item 4, we're going to start with the acceptance of the minutes. 4.1, the acceptance of the minutes from August 23rd. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee White? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Aye.
Trustee Owen abstains. The motion carries.
Item 4.2, acceptance of the minutes from August 31st, 2016. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
That was White and Giroux. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. Sorry.
Abstain? Motion carries.
Item 4.3, acceptance of the minutes of September 6, 2016.
Motion.
Motion.
Trustee McOwen?
Second.
Trustee Saunders? There was just one change in the minutes. A sentence was added under unfinished business referencing Ms. Farquharson's address to the board about my brother's keeper.
Right. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
All right, our next section, communications or report from the public. 5.1, Rick?
Good evening. There's no legal requirement to recognize public comment at meetings of the Board of Education. However, the board recognizes the critical importance of community discourse and involvement in the education of Mount Vernon's children, and accordingly, members of the public are invited to speak at each regularly scheduled board meeting, subject to the terms and conditions of the board policy. A speaker must register in advance no later than 4 p.m. by the day of the meeting by contacting the district clerk in person at 165 North Columbus Avenue, by phone at 914-665-5235, or by email at rmccormack@mtvernoncsd.org. The board welcomes all respectful comment, whether praise or criticism. However, identifying and criticizing specific student, parent, teacher, administrator, or other Mount Vernon education official or employee is strictly prohibited. Any such complaint must be presented and addressed through the proper administrative channels. Each speaker is allotted 3 minutes to speak, with up to 1 additional minute for the speaker to use to summarize and conclude their remarks. If appropriate, board trustees and/or the superintendent or other staff member at the direction of the superintendent may immediately respond to a speaker's remarks. Our first speaker this evening is Ed Welsh.
Good evening.
Evening.
Hi, thank you. Superintendent, Chairman, board members, members of the community, thank you for allowing me a few minutes to speak. My name is Ed Welch. I'm a professor at John Jay College. I'm a consultant with the Mount Vernon Police Department. I'm here today on behalf of Mount Vernon's My Brother's Keeper. Gun violence in Mount Vernon is a public health epidemic, and preventing it requires a collective responsibility. I'm asking the school board, school district, and representatives of the community to join My Brother's Keeper on October 1st at Rebecca Turner Elementary School between the hours of 9 a.m. and 12 noon to join us to prepare a collective response to this pernicious threat. Today at the UN, President Obama spoke about a medieval menace in the Middle East. Well, we have our own medieval menace here in Mount Vernon, and it's gun violence, and we'd like your help in addressing this. October 1st, Rebecca Turner Elementary School, 9 to 12. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have a question for you regarding that.
Yes, sir.
How do you propose, besides addressing the issue, and we all know the issue is alive and well, besides addressing it, but what direct actions or steps that we, even as a school board or school district, can take to help, number one, start to reduce gun violence and then eventually to eliminate it? Is there really anything concrete that we here can do besides speaking out against it? I mean, how often people spoke out against Sandy Hook, and yet, gun laws and legislation still can't pass the House?
Well, here in Mount Vernon, there's very definitely things we can do to address gun violence. Number one, I would say it requires everybody's collective intelligence, because public safety officials, educators, and community leaders are squandering opportunities to prevent this pernicious threat. Things like mentoring programs, green spaces, recreational opportunities, athletic supervised recreational opportunities for youth. We know from our research that 60% of violent crime is committed by 5% of the population. It's the same for geographical areas, or it's similar. 60% of violent crime occurs in a very specific geographic area of the community. We all have to come together. I know in academia we often talk about things and study things that we don't often apply to ourselves. But here in Mount Vernon, in a community of 70,000 residents, 4.2 square miles, a progressive educational environment, we can address this threat. And there are a lot of things that we can do at the grassroots level that you can't do in Congress, you can't do in Washington, D.C., but you can do it here at the local level, because as we've seen in justice research over the last 50 years, these milestones start at the local level and grow. And I'd like the Mount Vernon model to be something that other communities reference when they address gun violence.
And you will have an action plan there at this meeting?
We are coming together to develop that action plan. It's going to take a collective responsibility for us all to come together and bring out our A game in order to address all the things that we can do in Mount Vernon that's cost-effective, that addresses the problem specifically, and that we can actually have measurable outcomes.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Can
you,
I just
sir.
ask, I plan to be there, will we have some data at the October 1st meeting with respect to how gun violence has been diminished or otherwise addressed, and other cities? Because I know there's other cities that have been doing MBK for several years now, Boston and some other cities. Do they have any data on that yet, or not really?
Well, MBK and 21st Century Policing were two White House initiatives that were started in 2014, came
Right.
out in 2015. The data is not complete right now, but we know gun violence, homicides are up 30% in Mount Vernon, non-fatal shootings, shots fired, reckless endangerment, gun possessions all up similarly. It seems to be a recurring pattern of behavior among certain groups in Mount Vernon. There's things that we can do in the school district that can address this problem as far as developing a code of conduct, discipline, expectations for our students, things of that nature. There's things that we can do in the police department, but it has to be informed by the community. And that's where we find our most significant gains when we deal with it at the grassroots level. And I appreciate your participation.
Any other questions? All right, Mr.
All right,
Welch,
thanks
thank
very
you
much.
so much. Really appreciate it. And the date is October 1st? All right.
12 to 4, you said?
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
12 a.m.
a.m.
At 12 a.m. Okay, very well.
Our next speaker is Lorna Kerwin.
Good evening, Superintendent, Board of Trustees, and the community.
Good evening.
This is, I guess, it's a good segue. My name is Lorna Kerwin, and I'm the PTA Council President for Mount Vernon, and I'm here representing Mount Vernon High School PTA board members, the teachers, and the parents from the Mount Vernon High School. And the reason why we are here tonight is the concern surrounding the metal detectors that were removed from the high school. The parents and the teachers are very irate, if I should use that word. According to the teachers, they showed up the first day of school and the metal detectors are not there. The parents were never notified, and I know we all for transparency, but no communication was given to the community, the staff, at the high school. So I just want to know, or we just want to know, the rationale in removing the metal detectors, given the climate that we're living in today.
Okay, I believe I'll let the superintendent handle this, and just for the record, we have had this discussion here at the board at previous meetings, but for everyone present here tonight, for their edification, the superintendent will take it from there, and I can fill in wherever else that may be needed.
Good evening, Ms. Kern. How are you? Well, first of all, the idea behind the metal detectors were not removed altogether, and I know that was one of the first miscommunications. The plan was to gradually phase the metal detectors out. The building principals and the director of security certainly had the discretion to develop a schedule that made sense for that building. And of course, if there was something going on in the community or something in the school, they certainly had the discretion to increase the frequency with using them. But the goal was to gradually reduce the use of the metal detectors until we were able to phase them out. And that's based on the premise, quite frankly, that I'm of the opinion that when our students enter our buildings and they're subjected to that kind of what I call inhumane treatment, it perpetuates the ideology that children can't be trusted and that they are not entering a place where there are high expectations about how students should conduct themselves and interact with one another and adults. Now, there was not a lot of public discourse on this subject, quite frankly, because my intent or my hope and desire was that it would be minimal, it would be gradual, and I didn't want it on the kids' radar, quite frankly. I did not want kids to be able to identify a pattern, but rather that they would begin to be exposed to the kind of environment where there were indeed high expectations and that students would begin to comply accordingly. My experience has been such that when you raise expectations for kids and adults, they generally try to meet those expectations. So there was no effort to keep the public out of participating in that conversation. It was really a matter of providing the kind of protocol that would ensure that we minimized the opportunity for children to take advantage of that, but rather that they would just fall in suit and comply with a place where higher expectations were the order of the day. So that was the rationale behind it. Now, I am cognizant of the fact that there are certain things that happen in the community that may necessitate a higher presence of security, but the security, in my estimation, requires complete participation from all parents, all students, and staff members. And along with the gradual removal of the metal detectors is an expectation that our security officers would be better trained, that teachers would also share responsibility for supervising what's going on in the hallways, in areas where students are in large groups, and they're congregating, like cafeteria, the courtyard, things of that sort, and share responsibility for ensuring. The metal detectors really have no real deterrent, quite frankly, for reducing the number of weapons that are present in school. In fact, I wonder if it doesn't perpetuate it by the mere token that we create this notion that those are our expectations when we subject children to that kind of situation. So that was the rationale behind it. Again, the idea was really to try to be as seamless with it as possible, kind of keep it off the radar, so that our kids would just notice that there were a different set of expectations in our buildings.
And if I may add, do we even know how many parents choose not to send their children to our schools because of the metal detectors? Right? When they come to the school and they see kids being stopped, frisked, going through metal detectors, and this is supposed to be a place of educational, of high educational expectations. You know, when young minority children, especially boys, are stopped on the streets by police officers, especially in New York City, stop and frisk policy, everyone in the community is actually quite offended. We don't like it. What are you doing? We're subjecting our youth to something that is becoming their new normal. However, yet we do it every day at our schools, and all of a sudden that's okay? But yet we're angry when police officers do it on the street? That cannot be okay, and that cannot be their norm. Psychologically, okay, it cannot be the norm. We're not creating the proper environment for them to be nurtured and to learn. I know Trustee McCohen also has some statistics that he can share with you in terms of, you know, what percentage of schools nationwide use metal detectors.
It's human nature when you have something that's been going on for many, many years, it just becomes, you think that's normal and that's what everybody does. That is not what happens around the country. Around the country, only about 4% of schools use metal detectors at all on a regular basis. Only 8.7% of high schools use metal detectors on a regular basis, and even then it's usually random checks. It's not every day. And I want to focus on something that the superintendent said, that, and to be clear, we are all, everyone in this room is unanimously in favor of protecting our kids and our teachers and the people in our school. That is the #1 priority always of all of us. But the query is, how do we do that? Right? What's the best way to protect people? Is it to have metal detectors there every day? Or is it to try and create a culture where people don't kill each other, right? And what are the ways to approach that? And something that the superintendent said, which is really important, which is to say that actually, statistically, it is safer to have random metal detector checks than to just have them there every day. If people are intent on hurting somebody, it's more effective statistically to impose that on some kind of random basis when no one knows when there's going to be there, as opposed to just having the same guys there running the same detectors every day and you work a way around it. So, like I said, only 8.7% of high schools in America use random metal detectors at all. Even fewer use them every day. And so, do we want to send a message that says we think Mount Vernon is in, you know, the top 5 or 6 or 8% most dangerous high schools in America? I don't think that's true, and we're trying to act accordingly and raise expectations.
And last, I should say that the same way as you enter the building tonight, there were no metal detectors, because we want to promote a culture of trust as well, right? We trust that all of you here are decent human beings, and none of you will take a gun and start shooting or start stabbing people. So if we want to promote that trust amongst our students, amongst our youth, so that they can grow up in a climate of trust, then hence, you know, this is the action that we must take now.
I just want to add one more thing about the policy on this, right? So I did actually go back and review our safety policy, which is very, very vague, right? For a reason. Because I don't think it's in anyone's interest to have a policy that mandates that we use metal detectors in every school or certain schools, nor would it be a good idea to have a policy that they're prohibited. I think it's purposely flexible so that we can respond appropriately when there's known dangers or threats or increased activity. Then heck yes, we should do whatever we need to do to keep people safe. But to just assume that every day, month after month, year after year, class after class, that's the norm, I don't think that's correct, at least personally.
I agree. I think the problem is the way it was done. I can't, again, it was just, removed. If it was, publicized, if I may, or even the teachers were told, the parents were told, I think it would have received differently. Like how you explaining it to us, I think they would wanted to hear that, and they probably would have received it better. Because, of course, everyone wanted to feel safe.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your concern. I believe the superintendent also mentioned why, in fact, he did not publicize it is because we wanted to really sunset and be very random. But thank you so much. Really appreciate you speaking before us tonight.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Sheena Allen.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Again, Ms. Karan asked some of the questions that I wanted to ask, and I am a parent. My daughter attends Mount Vernon High School. We just transferred from Thornton, and we did find out at the PTA meeting that the metal detectors were not in daily use. I totally understand the inhumane treatment aspect of it, and I get that. We could look at ourselves going through the airport. Are we being treated in an inhumane way? No, we all need to be protected. There was a reason why they were implemented in the first place. Now there's a reason why you want to take them out, and I understand it, and I would support it if we could figure out a way to keep weapons from entering our schools. A lot of the kids that are going to school with weapons are going because they're fearful of what's going to happen outside of the schools. So when they leave that building and they're walking down the street, going down California Road where these people are paying $18,000, $20,000 in taxes, they're afraid of someone coming up and, doing some harm to them. I know kids that, because when I would go to Thornton, and I know a lot of the children there, and I make friends with a lot of them through my daughter and other kids that I know in the community. And there were kids in there with aluminum wrapped around a blade in their sneaker to get, through the metal detector. So there's going to be a way for these things to get into the schools. So my concern is, I would love to see that day when we can have this perfect utopia of the schools and we don't have weapons going into the schools and drugs and other things that, are harming our children and our community. How can we do that? And it's got to start at home. It's got to start in our streets. So we do need more programs. So My Brother's Keeper, I think, would be great for this community. I've heard of it, and my neighbor is a big proponent of it. But I think that the teachers were taken aback by this. I was at the PTA meeting, and they had a teacher representative there, and the teachers are afraid. And how can we expect our teachers to teach our children if they're looking over their shoulder constantly to see what's going on? And the kids doing the same thing. So I just want to know what we can do about that. And this is big. This is big. And I know if it's in 8%, what is the, the communities in that 8%? I mean, I know it's not like they're probably in these very urban areas where this is happening, like here in Mount Vernon. So I would just like to know what we can do to make that, to end that. And also, maybe going forward, maybe we can send out some type of notice just to the parents and just say, hey, this is going on. We can have a big meeting for more of the community to come out and share ideas. We all live here.
Sure.
And we all have to share ideas. But if people don't know what's going on, they're going to be in the dark.
Thank you very much. And to respond to a couple things that you mentioned, number one, as you so rightfully said, children are going to find a way. Those who want to, they will find a way to get to get through the metal detectors and get weapons in the classroom. Okay, so it's a false sense of security, if anything, that the metal detectors provide. Number two, as Mr. Welsh represented, it's a certain 5% of the community that really is, let's say, promote, or not to promote, but who really carry out these type of activities, right? And so if the teachers know who they are, if the administrators know who they are, and faculty, then maybe we identify them and then we start there. I mean, I'm sure if you ask the teachers, who do you think in this classroom is most likely to carry a weapon, I'm sure they could identify that person. And so maybe we have to have more outreach, not only from the school side, but also from the parent side, from the community side, and all the other support services that we have. So yes, metal detectors give a false sense of security, because where there's a will, there is a way. And again, most of the reasons that children carry weapons is sometimes, maybe to protect themselves when they're going home, right, on the way out. So it's not even to use it in the school, right? It's to use it maybe, or to protect themselves outside of the school environment. So yes, through My Brother's Keeper and other initiatives, I feel that we can definitely make inroads, serious inroads into this issue. But regarding communication, the last point is that we have board meetings twice a month. And we've covered this issue with the metal detectors. We spoke about it before we actually implemented it at a board meeting prior. And board meetings are also televised. I know we have minutes, and we have a lot of different things and ways to communicate to the public. We send out newsletters, which a lot of people don't read. So we definitely try. And we definitely are not trying to keep the public in the dark. We want to communicate with you. But, you have to be here, not just tonight. I know you can't make it to every meeting. Not everybody can make it to every meeting. But we do articulate our, the things that we're doing. So it's not as if we're trying to plan things in the shadow of the night.
And if I may, I realize ripping the Band-Aid off may be a little uncomfortable for some people. I totally get that. I got criticism from people in my cabinet. I got criticism from some of my principals. But I do think that we have to start somewhere with sending a different kind of message to our children. When I first came to Mount Vernon and I went into the high school, I was actually quite shocked that the kids were expected to go through these metal detectors, and the chirping of the radios and the sounds of the keys. It resembled more of a prison than it did a place of learning. And I understand why they were put there. But my question is somewhat rhetorical, is how long do we hold our kids enslaved to a mentality of something that happened almost 20 years ago, in excess of 20 years at this point? I understand it. I don't think there is an easy solution other than educating and getting everyone to share this responsibility. And again, I don't think it was wise in the best interest of maintaining security to have had a public discourse about the decision to remove or not the metal detectors. But again, keep in mind, we're phasing them. They didn't disappear, and they won't disappear, because there will be circumstances and conditions in our community that will warrant an increased presence of that kind of deterrent, to the extent that it serves that purpose.
So will the schools now be working closely with the teachers? I know you mentioned before that they'll work with security
Absolutely.
staff as well in training and things like that to identify. It also breaks my heart to hear that the teachers can now say, "Oh, that's the bad guy. That's the bad." I mean, it's terrible, because it equates almost to someone being stopped in the street by the police officer. I mean, it's a terrible world that we're living in right now. It's really scary, and the reality is our kids going to school are afraid. Our kids are being killed and hurt in schools and in the streets and near the schools.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that that's the bad guy or the bad kid, but maybe that is the child that may need perhaps an intervention.
Oh, definitely they need an intervention.
Right.
But you're not, saying you need an intervention because your pants are hanging down. You're saying you need an intervention because that child is probably one of the kids.
Or
who
has
has
demonstrated in the past
Right.
certain actions
Bringing a
that
weapon to
warranted.
school.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So it's not, we're not singling them out for nothing. It's because of maybe some past, action. So.
Well, I look forward to many positive results with this program, and I really hope that everything works, for the best.
And by the way, there's a lot of things that we're doing, not only with the metal detectors, but throughout our entire district by, renovating our schools and creating educational environments that are nurturing, that do have, show that we expect higher expectations from, let's say, our students and our faculty as well. For example, I'll take Graham, for example. faculty would come and park on the grass, on the gravel, on broken asphalt. But now they're in a very well-paved parking lot. And students will now pretty soon be playing on a very beautiful field and turf with fountains and gardens. With beautiful gates and entryways. Instead of coming through the basement, they'll come through arches and columns. So that alone, they have a brand new auditorium where they can feel that we do care and know that we do care. So if we don't set them up for those type of expectations, then they're going to be expecting something completely different. So we're going to create the environment. We're going to create the sense of higher expectations from everyone, all right? And we will get there. But these are the steps that we have to take. And so, like the superintendent said, sometimes it does hurt ripping off the Band-Aid, but we have to start somewhere.
No, this feels good because it feels a little better when you hear it in this arena than when you're sitting in a PTA meeting and, oh, really? That was a
Sure.
I mean, so this does.
Well, discourse communication is so important, and trust me, we are trying to find many different ways and avenues. And in Mount Vernon, even though it's, by the way, I'm not sure if it's 4.2, 4.4, everyone says point something. But anyway, in this very small radius of a community, you'd think that it's easy to communicate with the 70,000 residents that are here, but it's not. Some of the folks are older, they don't use the internet. I hand-deliver newsletters to homes. And then a week later, I come back and say, hey, by the way, do you know about this? Oh, no, I don't. How am I supposed to know? Well, I dropped the newsletter off. Well, I didn't read it. Well, So, but we're trying. And, but I applaud you coming here and speaking before us. And please share this information with your friends, neighbors, fellow parents, teachers, whoever you may come into contact with, because this is how we get the word out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say two more things? Sorry.
Sure.
Just first, thank you so much for, not to abuse an expression, but for keeping it real, right? For like explaining that when we have gun violence in schools, the vast majority of time, it has nothing to do with a teacher or what's going on in a school. It's something that's happening outside of the school that is spilling into the school ground. People are bringing weapons because of something else that's going on, or to retaliate for something else that's going on, or because they're afraid of violence going home, right? Those are all absolutely right. And that's why programs like My Brother's Keeper and Bring the Community are so important. Because what we really don't need, honestly, we don't need to reduce gun violence in school. What we need to do is reduce gun violence everywhere. And that's how you accomplish good reducing gun violence in schools. So it's a whole community effort. So thank you for pointing that out. And the other thing I just wanted to remind us all, which both Mr. President and the Superintendent have alluded to, is that we are in a time of transition right now, right? And we are transitioning to high schools of choice and more student options. And right now, we don't use metal detectors. We haven't historically used metal detectors in all the schools, right? So we already have been, for years and years and years in Mount Vernon, we have a system where some students go through them and some students are exempt from them. That's not a fair policy either. So if we're going to make a transition to a time when high school students are going to have options, we need to make sure those options are really equal options and that they're not going to be clouded by, oh, like, this is the dangerous school to choose and this is the safer school to choose. Absolutely not. All our schools are safe. And that's the message we need to present to everyone.
Thank you. Well said. All right, do we have another speaker?
Our last speaker this evening is Thomas Keller.
He's out in the hallway.
Great, move on. Just kidding.
Oh, I just saw him. He's out there.
Do we have another one? We could-
No, Mr. Keller,
He's right there.
it's 30 seconds off, sir.
Go.
I work as an inspector for the Board of Elections, the primary at the high school. Many security people coming up to me. We're scared.
What?
We're scared. No metal detectors are off to the side. All it takes is one incident. Somebody's going to get hurt or worse. How many people were around here in 93 and 94 when they had the shootings? There was a mass exodus out of the high school. We had Jewish kids going to Iona. Wanda, you were here. Was you teaching?
Yes.
Rosemary, you're a lifelong resident. I don't know if Adrian was here. I don't know if anybody else was here. You probably were here. But none of these people who run the district were here. So, Dr. Hamilton, President Zamora, Trustee McCowan, I just heard you're turning rationality upside down. Of course the metal detectors are a deterrent. Of course they are. And this argument that some individual will get a weapon inside the school, they're going to have to go to every opening into the school and try to get it in that way. It acts as a deterrent. And to compare stop and frisk with a passive person going through a metal passive process going through a metal detector is a bad analogy. It's a really bad analogy. You've got policemen with armed guns and so forth. Our security people don't have guns. So that's a lousy analogy. I'll tell you, if I was a teacher and I was in the union, I'd be all over the union people to do something about this. And the way it was done, security guards telling me the parents were not notified. I guess these two young ladies said the same thing. They weren't notified. Trying to sneak the thing through. And you know, the 4, 5, 6, or 8% of the districts in the country that do this, they may be the safest 4, 5, 6, or 8% because they're doing this. You did a nice job in the gym. Let's keep it that way. Security guards are telling me there's supposed to be no food in the gym. When there's open gym after the girls have volleyball, candy wrappers, potato chip bags, security guards, there's only so much they can do. They ask the kids not to bring food in, but it's brought in. Let's see if we can keep the gym in the shape that it's in now. Speaking of open recreation, I mean, I was open just that one day, primary day. And I don't know if there's study halls, but this open gym was like 7, 8, or 9 o'clock at night. Man, why do these kids do their homework? The fields. Soccer is not meant to be played on turf. It's meant to be played on grass. When you decided to do turf soccer fields, were the coaches involved in this? Were the parents, others, the recreational leagues that use our fields? Can't we do grass for soccer? I realize in football, because of the nature of the game, you have to probably do turf. I guess that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Keller.
New microphone, portable microphone?
Yeah, why not? Thank you, Mr. Keller. Now, just to respond to a couple of the things that you mentioned, I'll start from some of the latter comments regarding the food in the gymnasium. I suppose we could invest in some food detectors. Anybody? Right? Maybe security could stop the kids from entering with the food.
There was a shooting outside a couple of doors from my house about 4 or 5 years ago after a basketball game.
Okay. And number two, all those Jewish kids that moved to Iona after that first shooting, did they come back to Mount Vernon after you had the metal detectors installed? All right. I don't think the metal detectors brought them back either. So, you know, all the points you made really are, well, they don't hold any weight because, number one, it did not bring the Jewish kids back to Mount Vernon. It doesn't really make us that much safer. There are many entrances and exits. I'm at the high school almost every day. I can't count how many doors and exits and entrances are open with no security. I can't count. So you talk about how difficult it would be for them to get into the building with a weapon. Not true. It's very easy. Very easy. And where there's a will, there's a way. You talk about security at airports. Well, 3 planes went down this year from bombs with all the security of the airports. Where there's a will, there's a way. I work in Chelsea on 25th Street and 6th Avenue. That's where my office is. Saturday I was going, I went to work Saturday, and I left about maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock. And roughly about 7 o'clock, there was a terrorist bombing. And what did the mayor do today with the police commissioner? They came down and they invited everyone to come back to 6th Avenue in Chelsea and act normal, be normal. They didn't decide to blockade and put metal detectors all around Chelsea, and everybody who was coming into Chelsea were going to be, frisked or go through metal detectors. It's not the answer. The same way the answer is not building more jails. All right? The answer is education. The answer is parenting. The answer is My Brother's Keeper and other types of activities or initiatives that engage the community to do better. All the metal detectors, Mr. Keller, in the world is not going to make Mount Vernon a better district. And by the way, some of those districts that have the metal detectors still, the 8%, Newark, New Jersey, Patterson, Camden, great communities for you to live in.
No comment.
No comment. Thank you very much. Are we done?
One thing he said,
Go
though,
ahead.
about the turf, I do remember we had discussions about visiting other districts and making the turf versus grass distinction. I know there's splits in some districts. Some people like it, some people hate it. But I know there was a lot of discussion about that. I remember
I'm glad you brought that up. Mr. Policio, our facilities director, may you say a word about the involvement of coaches or
Yeah.
other athletic personnel in the decision-making? And the
Good evening,
architects,
everybody.
landscape.
So the process that we've undertaken to develop our fields, the field project is large, and every week we meet with coaches, we meet with members of the community, we have a planned site visit at both Pace University and up at, I believe it's Hackley, to see the difference between turf and natural grass, how the drainage will work, how the impact on the athlete for turf as opposed to grass. So it's an extensive research into which direction we're going to go in. Whether or not some people like turf or some people like grass, those opinions will fly, I'm sure. But rest assured, we have done our research and we're continuing to do our research, and it's going to be the best field in the county when we're done, that's for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
That concludes the opportunity to address the board.
All right, that concludes the opportunity to address the board. Thank you very much, Mr. McCormick. And I believe we're going to move on to our next item, which is the consent agenda. This will, the super report first? I missed that. Sorry about that, Mr. Superintendent.
Just very briefly, good evening, everyone, again. Just for your information, I don't know if you saw the article in the paper today or not, but as you know, Mount Vernon was part of the Small Cities School lawsuit, which was filed against the state under the premise that the state had failed to provide adequate funding to ensure appropriate education for students in communities like Mount Vernon. The courts have ruled that the state has in fact met its constitutional obligation. So in essence, the Small Schools Consortium has lost that case. There is talk about filing an appeal. I will keep you abreast of that as I get more information in that regard, and then the board can decide whether or not they want to put additional funding into challenging that decision. And that concludes the superintendent's report for this evening. I'm going to do the presentation now? Okay.
President's report.
Before we get there, we have the architects this evening, and we'll do that under the superintendent's report if that's
Sure,
okay.
let's do that.
So the
Sounds
architects
great.
are doing their presentation this evening regarding our status and some updates on the referendum and the projects that are underway.
Good evening, members of the board, Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent. I'd like to just open up by saying that one Jewish kid did come back. It wasn't from Iona, but it was from Fordham. So, Mr. Silver, thank you for joining us and being part of this community. Saying that, I would like to acknowledge that today's report, I apologize for not being here for a couple of months. We've been very busy throughout the whole summer. We've been trying to finish up many projects, and the team members that you see listed here, Peter Jasoffi's office, are represented tonight. Mr. Michael Tribe is here, and from Savin Engineers, Mr. Steve Spangler is here, so they will follow me with my report with their own details and continued phasing of the projects that are in progress. I'd like to start with the Graham site work by just showing you some photographs. This was the rendering of the site plan, and as Leslie was saying earlier, the parking fields or the parking spaces that are in progress right now have been paved, the curbing's done, and we are in the process of clearing the playing area to the right, and we will start that work shortly. I'd like to show you some photographs of the parking. You can see that we have granite curbing in the middle of the island just to have some nicer details. The parking has been striped, and we're continuing to work on the sidewalks and pathways along the school as well as along Columbus Avenue, and we will soon be installing piers with iron gates for entrance. Along with Graham as well, we have very proud to say that we have completed the Graham Auditorium. This was a project that started in the spring and just recently finished. We have new seating, new carpeting, new lights, new paint. It's a state-of-the-art facility, and we're very proud to give our young children the opportunity to perform in this new space. This is the view from the stage, and you can see also the mezzanine above. This is the view from the mezzanine looking at the stage. Everything was renovated and we're ready to go. The next school I'd like to talk about is Parker. We also completed the Parker Auditorium as well. It's going to be a wonderful space for the little ones. We're going to be turning Parker into a pre-K program, and this is a wonderful place for them to start their academics and their performances as well. What you see here are some acoustical panels on the walls. We have acoustical panels on the ceiling to give us the effect of waves. The acoustical panels on the walls mimic the curtains and the windows on the opposite side. This is the view from the stage looking towards the back wall. Some of you might remember that there was a shed structure with vinyl windows there. That is no longer the case. Some of you might not remember this school, what it looked like, just because you couldn't even see it. From the overgrown trees, we're looking at Trap Hagen. We have done quite a bit of site work. Existing asphalt walkways have been taken out, new concrete walkways have been installed, a new entrance, you can see there on the left, is in the process of being finished with new brick piers, lanterns lighting up the space. We're putting in a wrought iron railing. We're getting rid of the chain link fencing. On the other side, you will see that the basketball court that was once completely chained up and overgrown with leaves, with trees and shrubs, has disappeared. The parking lot will get new lighting. There was no lighting whatsoever in the parking lot. We will be working on that shortly. You can see also new walkways leading to all the parking spaces as well. Something that might not be exciting is the picture on the right, which is the loading dock. And you have a chiller that we're trying to make disappear, and I think we're doing a pretty good job on creating access with a ramp and new curbing, new dock landing, and we're going to close that chiller with some black chain link, so it will sort of disappear from the radar. We're also going to be looking at working on the fields. We took down the old baseball back post. We're going to be putting in a new grass soccer field, which is something nice. And we're going to be looking to do a basketball court as well as a baseball field. This area shows the neighborhood on the left-hand side where we removed the old trees, old chain link fence. We cleaned and made the neighbors very happy. We have very positive feedback from all the neighbors saying thank you very much for cleaning everything up. It's about time. On the right-hand side, we also cleaned up the play areas for the kids. We took down the chain link fence, and we're going to put a wrought iron railing just to make it last for a very long time. So this is the jewel of the high school that we have completed. Brand new flooring, new bleachers, new lighting, painted the whole space. Banners have been enclosed in frames. We even, I think we washed the flag too, right, Mike? went to for a dry cleaning process. So it's a wonderful new place for a well-deserving basketball team to come in and practice. We had some fans installed. The coach wasn't too happy because he wanted to make the kid. We told him it was to push the cool air down, so he was in agreement with that. But we have a wonderful new place for them to learn and play. Next project that's in progress is the pool renovation. You can see the scaffolding that's up. We're working on the heating elements that are being installed. You can see the new ductwork. And this will be a wonderful project that will be completed within the next couple of months. This last slide is the sketch of what we're looking to do shortly, and that is the greenhouse in the back of the high school, which is highlighted with blue. We're looking to introduce some gardens, vegetable gardens, spices, and then to the left and to the right, different types of flowers and trees. And we want to create 2 science rooms, earth science rooms, that will be able to access these facilities. Right now we have a science class that is overcrowded, and these kids really don't have a place to go and learn and have that touch experience. So we're looking to rework that site. We have an access to the left there that goes to the back of the high school. We want to make that a safer access, but we don't want everybody to be able to drive around the school. So what we're going to do is we're going to limit that to emergency vehicles when the time is necessary to do so. And we want to break up the parking by introducing some peninsulas and some trees and give a little bit more of a greener area than just a black parking lot. To the right there, you'll see a fenced-in area with a trellis where we'll have some planting beds, and maybe we can bring some worms from the Graham site there to share. So it's in progress, and we're going to be working on that shortly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to add, this has been a great effort by everyone, the entire team, the administration, and the architects, engineers. And I remember this gentleman, when we first started, his name is Steve Spangler. I believe he's with us tonight. How are you, Steve? I'll never forget when Steve said, you know, on our first meeting, he said, with every team, there's the forming of the team. Remember that? I remember. The forming of the team, the storming of the team, the norming of the team, and the performing of the team. And I'm not sure what stage we're at right now. I'm not sure if we're still norming or if we're still storming. But obviously, with the results that you've just seen and just witnessed, and much more to come, this team is certainly performing. As we met with the principals last week, and we asked the coach, the principal of the high school how his new gym was. He said fantastic. We asked the principal at Graham how her new auditorium was, and she said incredible. And we asked Parker, principal, how her new auditorium was, and she said fabulous. And I just want to remind all the principals and all those that were in the room that those words that they heard is the new vernacular that will describe the Mount Vernon City School District. All right? It's going to be fabulous. It's going to be exciting. And now I'm going to pass the mic down to Michael Tribe, or Steve. One of you will continue with sharing some more details with us. Thank you.
This PowerPoint presentation is describing aspects of the bond that goes hand in hand with the other capital projects that Luisha just talked about. So phase 1 quickly happened this summer. This is the list of the projects. The Thornton roof, how are these projects selected? It was critical items such as roof replacement needed to protect your buildings. For Thornton, a large section of the original school was done this summer. The additional area will be done once the HVAC work is figured out for moving forward. Graham, Luisha discussed it as well, some of the site work. It continues to move into the fall. You see on the other part a large pile of soil, and that is the next step to move it out and to complete the rest of that site before winter occurs. Inside the building, there is the science lab that was finished to the point needed during the summer. We're currently waiting for the cabinetry to come in place so that sometime in October we should be pulling this space together for moving into. One small item, but just to make the board aware of, there are pieces of cornice missing. And it was an existing condition that was found that some of these pieces were loose. So for purposes of safety, they were removed, and the engineers are now looking at a solution for putting it back together. Another significant piece this summer was preparing to run the technology wiring in certain schools. So in 4 of the schools, there was the abatement of asbestos-containing building materials, and this just shows one of the corridors where the ceilings and lights were put back in, so that in this next phase, that wiring will take place. So the majority of the time we want to spend for this is talking about phase 2. We're past phase 1 and now we're moving into phase 2, and this is to give a board an update of some of the drawings and concepts and where we're moving forward with this. The target is to have these drawings up to the state this fall and winter, so we're going out to bid and doing this work this summer. So we will begin with Pennington and Michael Tribe.
Good evening. Thank you, Stephen. I'll just run through these projects fairly fast. This is the site drawing of the Pennington School, and the work that's happening here is what's on the upper part of the page, which are improvements to the parking, to the play areas, and to the field. And you'll notice to the left-hand side, where the bus drop-off area is, there's an addition. This is a new addition to Pennington, and it's 2 stories, it has 12 classrooms and a multimedia space. I'll just move on. The other project that we're looking at is the improvements of all the fields at the high school. There are 5 major locations. It's the tennis courts, softball, baseball, the football field, and the soccer field with the track. And the choice for the coaches was the track should be around the soccer field because it's wider and you get better times running on that type of track. This overlay is a quick sketch. We're just trying to see the patterns of circulation and movement through the space. On the upper right-hand side, I'll just go back to the previous one. You see the bridge coming over from the high school close to the tennis courts. From that location, there are 2 blue areas. Those are the green spaces that kind of connect to the 5 venues. And then there's a series of paths and patterns to go to all the venues. In addition, we've done a quick rendering, a nice rendering for the potential field house. This field house has storage for equipment for the fields. It has locker rooms and bathrooms, and it has a multi-purpose space. The central space is an open pavilion that will have a catering facility and places to sit in the shade as you're waiting between games. This you've seen already. This is Graham. We're in this next phase of completing the play areas to the right-hand side. And the next step is going out to bid for the new front entrance and some improvements to the interior and exterior of the building. This is what the area where the front entrance is going, and this is what it's going to look like with it stairs and ramps coming up to this new entrance that connects to all the
That's
main
beautiful.
spaces in the building. So from this entrance, you can go to the auditorium, to the gym, and to the library. This is a site plan for Parker. Again, there's no additions to the building, but there are improvements to the parking lot and creating play spaces for the pre-kindergarten children, keeping the basketball court in the same location. Plans showing the new arrangement of classrooms. More than anything, it's including bathrooms in every classroom for the pre-kindergarten children.
Oh, excellent.
These are very small drawings for you to see, but at Thornton, the biggest Part of it is the renovation of the Wood Auditorium. It's going to be a state-of-the-art auditorium, including all new lighting and theater systems, sound systems, and so on. In addition, there are spaces that we've been working very closely with the school, establishing the program. There's an experimental theater that's going into one space. There's a dance area, and a variety of spaces related to drama, to orchestra, band, and vocal areas. This was a very quick sketch. We had looked at potentially if in the future there's a need to add to the Grimes School. There's the annex, which is in, you can see the L-shaped building, and the annex is sitting right above it, surrounded by green. This shows how you would possibly connect to the annex. The annex is 3 stories. It would leave the basketball court in its current configuration and create a green space into this U-configured building. And you can see to the left the existing site, and to the right how that addition would work, and possibly add somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 classrooms, depending on what the layout is. So that would house the 7th and 8th grade, keeping the rest of the school as a K-6. And I'm going to pass this back to Steve to explain this part.
So as you can see, Phase 2 is meatier projects, and there is a lot going on in preparation for moving forward with them. So we'll keep you abreast as we move forward into that next summer. Just to, very briefly, as you know, there is an energy performance contract going on in the midst of all of this as well. So there were boilers replaced in all the schools this summer. They're being commissioned and brought up for use. Yes, we will run out of 80-degree days here pretty soon. We will need the boilers back up and running again. Soon the windows at the high school and door replacement will start. Controls for operating the HVAC equipment is in process. That is probably the most critical part of the whole energy performance contract, because as you all know, we walk into a room, it's set at 72 degrees. Some of us think it's hot, some of us think it's cold, so you may be getting feedback as we're going through that phase. We'll want to keep good communication as that is commissioned. And a lighting upgrade will begin with light replacements. That's between now and next year. I believe we already touched on some of these other projects that are in, some that took place this summer, such as the educational center here with the roof being repaired. You can see that around the edges. Mandela High School, we're working to do some restroom renovations next year. That's part of the Phase 2. So that's a brief update. I don't know if you want to talk about any of those things, but yes, it is a privilege working with all of you as we are now performing.
Thank you. Thank you for that endorsement. Well, just want to mention, let me just say one word and then you can, just for clarification, the Grimes Annex project is not part of the bond. It's something that we believe that will be necessary to fulfill the 2020 vision. All the elementary schools will be having their a K-8, pre-K-8 program, and to allow for students of the 7th and 8th grade to go back to those elementary schools, we need additional space. And the Grimes building, it currently exists now, not much of a building, but we feel that the foundation is still good. Most of the structure is pretty good. We could add on to that. We could extend that, and we could make it useful. Somewhere around 10 to 12 more classrooms will definitely be plenty to house our 7th and 8th grade sort of like campus, such as Rebecca and Benjamin Turner has a campus. And even with that, we will still need more room. How we finance that in terms of the construction at Grimes is something that administration and the board will be discussing, because it's not part of the bond, therefore we cannot use bond money for that. It is certainly too healthy of a project to finance through normal operations. So that's something that will be coming, once we have a plan, we'll be coming back to the community to present. Trustee McCollum?
I just had just a couple of quick questions. At Graham, I saw on the site plan, do we still have the planting boxes anticipated in that one corner of Graham? So that's in addition to the high school earth science gardening project, which I must say just looks absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad that
Yeah,
being planned.
the community gardens are being positioned, and
Right.
they kind of follow that curving walk on the upper corner.
Right, and that's in addition to hopefully some kind of garden center at the high school, it sounds like,
Yes.
is
Yeah.
planned. That looks great. We had that one relatively new basketball court that was donated. Was that Parker or Graham?
Parker.
That's Parker. Is that staying?
That's staying.
That's staying.
That's staying. Okay.
Right. And just for your knowledge, that basketball court, by the way, is nothing but really a surface with a bunch of connecting tiles on top of asphalt.
It's soft.
So it can be moved if it so was deemed that it should be. But right now, in the plans as we have it, it's staying. There are some considerations. As you know, Parker will become a pre-K center, to soften it up, to add more green space to it. So we are looking at the possibility of acquiring possibly some property on Sanford. There's a big empty lot. There's some other availability there to make the teachers' parking lot there, and to repurpose the parking lot as it currently stands and make that all green space. So that, because right now it's very hard. The kids are playing on the asphalt, on the basketball court, but to introduce some more green space down there and some trees would be fantastic, especially for that constituent down there in that area.
Yeah, and what's the fencing plan at Parker? Since it's all pre-K kids, I mean, you got to keep
Sure.
track of the kids.
Yeah, the fence will stay in place, not as it currently stands now, the chain link, that would be coming down, and we'd be restoring it with the nice wrought iron and plantings as we do at our other facilities.
Yeah.
We carefully looked at the patterns of use from the students coming in and out of the building,
Right.
and made sure that the doors where teachers can bring the students out to the play area are contained within a fenced-in area. So the parking lot is separate from the
Right.
play area.
And then along those lines, has it been totally finalized with the city, what we're doing in terms of changing traffic flow for parent drop-off? Because isn't there going to be some kind of small change to traffic flow at
No, I
Parker?
think the drop-off's going to happen on 6th Avenue in the front of the building. The buses will line up there. I mean, if anything, we'll probably have the city alter some of the parking regulations for us, so that allow for
So you have
buses
space, yeah.
space on that side. But that's really about it.
Okay. And then my last question is probably, I don't know if it's a planned question for the superintendent, but in Thornton, we've talked for a long time about all these great, we're going to redo the auditorium, we're going to add a smaller theater also, there's going to be a new dance space. Are there any other kind of flagship things we should know about, like changes to rooms? Is there going to be a visual art space for things like sculptures and painting, or anything like that?
We had not talked about that. We talked about the dance space. We talked about, of course, the auditorium. There will be an art room, and we've been talking about some graphic design at Mount Vernon High.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to, we've talked a lot about the performing arts, which some of you may know personally is a personal love of mine, but I want to make sure we have lots of visual arts also.
Yes, the Hamilton School for Performing Arts, Thornton School for... All right, that's good. Noted. Sure.
Security. We're investing a lot of money in building these beautiful spaces, and when I think about auditoriums, the field at Mount Vernon High School, and being able to survey and have surveillance equipment up and running, are we considering electronic security and monitoring of these spaces at all? Are we building that in, just so you can see the level of usage? And I'm thinking about electronic door locking, the field house, for example. How do you secure that stuff and actually be able to monitor whether or not an individual is still left inside a building when someone does a walkthrough at the end of the night to make sure that, we're locking up and that someone isn't locked in, or someone who gets in and they shouldn't be there?
Very good question, and I believe Mr. Silver could address that for us. We've had these security concerns and talks, and actually we have we're seeking security expert professional to come and help guide us. May you say a word to that?
Sure. We're about to engage a consultant to help us with the subject of security. And at the same time, we will be, that company will be involved as well in our safety, security safety and facility safety. It's like an all-in-one that will take place. We have some difficulties getting that piece in place, but just since you mentioned that, we have each building principal has been requested to form a safety committee and to give me the names of the people on that committee. They will be meeting before the end of the month. And then our major committee, I think it's Wanda, is involved in that, will be meeting. So that part of that is security, but part of it is safety as related to construction as well.
Right. And in terms of the electronic building and some of that stuff, as we're doing our Phase 2 construction especially, I'm thinking about electronic monitoring, whether it's through cameras, motion sensors, automatic door locking, blinds that come down automatically, like things that protects the investment that we're making.
Yes, that has come up, and through this, consultant will be assessing our needs district-wide in terms of controls, access, who goes, maybe card swipes, exactly, to see who goes in, who goes out. We also talked about, for example, we visited Ardsley last week, and they have a system where from the main office, they could press a button, all the doors lock during a lockdown.
Right.
Some of our facilities will be more equipped to do that since they're newer, such as the Pennington Extension, if there's a Grimes that happens. Our older facilities will be a little bit more difficult. However, most of these systems, such as Ardsley, they were via a Wi-Fi system, so they were wireless, okay? So allowing the retrofitting of these systems to more readily happen. So yes, we are thinking about that right now. That did come up in our last meeting, and the security expert will help to assess the district's need and how we accomplish that. Now, budget-wise, it could be overwhelming, so we're going to figure out how to stage this out and what the priorities are, and then, such as cameras, locks, and move down the road like that.
But do we need wiring built in now, or is that part of the plan?
Sure. IT, the bigger overreaching sort of like IT plan is to have some wiring, but until you know what the program is that you want, you don't want to just run wires just, haphazardly. So it's a combination of a lot of things that has to happen at once. A lot of coordination has to happen. But yes, it is on our radar, and we've had those discussions. And right now the plan is to get this consultant in sooner than later because things are moving along.
You may have seen in the list for Phase 2, the bottom line was IT technology, which we didn't have a picture of before, and so that is part of the discussion of integrating all of those things. Obviously, as was mentioned with the budget, all the devices, no, but at least having thought through so that as you are able to add on components.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right. That concludes the superintendent's report.
That was a lot. That's great. I notice we've lost some people here. We'll move on to the president's report. We touched upon a lot of the items that I wanted to speak about, such as the metal detectors, so I believe we're done there. Demographics and the student population, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for speaking. I just want to touch upon that in terms of the possibility of bringing Grimes Annex on board, and the fact that I mentioned that we need additional space. We'll be working with the administrators, such as Felicia Gayon, who's in our midst as we speak, and Gail White-Wallace and other administrators to figure out what we need in terms of student seats, demographic study, I believe Joe McGrath, who's not with us tonight, but he will be working with us on the committee as well with everyone else to really determine what our needs are going to be. And there's a lot of talk about Mount Vernon having excess capacity. Just please understand that is not true. There's not one available classroom at the high school right now. Actually, there's one that we're going to try to make available that's being used as storage right now, but that's it. So this notion of decreasing enrollment in Mount Vernon and there's all these rooms, and that's not going to happen, especially when we want to bring aboard a new full-day pre-K program where we're expecting, I don't know, possibly a capacity of an additional 600-700 kids. So that takes away any type of extra room that we may have had. When we talk about bringing a high school of academic excellence, a performing arts high school, to be sort of like our Juilliard, when we talk about adding all these new vocational programs, career and technical, that takes up room. So we have no more room, but we will have some amazing programs. The next is contractors and work in the district. I've heard a lot of talk about, and I know we've mentioned this before, but a lot of people don't come to the meetings and therefore they haven't heard it, so we will, if they ask us to speak about it and touch upon it, we will do so again. There's a process for contractors to participate in the bond work. They have to be bonded, they have to be insured, and they have to be competent. There's a process by which you become a competent contractor who will go up for the bids. And what we've done is we had a big breakfast, a meeting for potential contractors. A lot of people showed up at that meeting. And the Chamber of Commerce, the Mount Vernon Chamber of Commerce, will be a vehicle by which contractors who are interested in work can go to the Chamber of Commerce and ask how can they participate, and the Chamber of Commerce will give them the means and methods to do so. But the other thing now is, how about people, laborers, who just want to, hey, I'm unemployed and I work in construction and I'd like a job, right? So I don't have a contracting company, but I just want to work in, and be part of this. This is my community. Well, so one of the ideas that we're contemplating is to again use the Mount Vernon Chamber of Commerce to do a job posting board, so that people could come there and hand in their resume, say what their skill sets are, and we'll add that to the digitally as well, so that we urge and we can actually demand the contractors that do get the jobs to at least look at the job board first in Mount Vernon to see who's available if they do need additional labor in different areas, different skill sets, plumbers, electricians. There's all sorts of skill sets here of people who may not be employed but are looking for employment. So before they go look for people maybe from Stamford, Connecticut, look right here in Mount Vernon. So we are going to work with Dwayne Brown from the Mount Vernon Chamber of Commerce and try to implement that. Thank you. I believe that concludes the President's report. If we don't have any further questions, we're going to move right on to the consent agenda. Right? Opportunity for any of the board trustees to remove an item from the consent agenda. Any discussion on any items? We're good? All right. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Trustee Saunders? Trustee Jaros? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Thank you. All right. Let's see which items here. Okay. I believe committee reports is next.
Before you go on, I'd just like to take this opportunity to welcome our new social worker, Michelle O'Neill. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Very glad to have you join this extraordinary team of people.
Thank you very much for that. And
Weren't there tenure appointments tonight? No?
Yeah, we had to.
Yeah, we only do that once a year. The celebration you're talking about?
speaking of social workers, how many do we have for the district?
That's a great question. I don't know off the top of my head. Do you know, Ms. Kapusky?
Sorry, I trumped you guys with that question.
You said there was a total, our buildings were full. What's our total count of children? Or they share?
Don't know the total
Get
count.
on
Ms. Gale?
8,311.
About that. Right. And also, don't forget, a lot of the rooms at the high school were taken up by the Performing Arts Magnet program.
Right.
That has, taken home there until Thornton is ready. So, yes, so we don't know quite the number of social workers, okay. But thank you and welcome to Mount Vernon.
She's the only one, maybe.
No,
Wait.
Oh, it's two.
There's two others? Okay, all right, that's three. All right, we're getting there. That's great.
At least three.
All right. So committee reports. Trustee White, would you like to start?
With the CNI group, we will be meeting September 29th at 8 o'clock in the morning. Please come out. We, I guess we'll be talking about the new catalog, or looking through the new catalog for the high school, and other interesting educational things. And before I go on, I would like to also commend our superintendent. I went to some of the schools this last week, and to see these little kids and sixth graders in uniforms.
no.
And feeling so proud. It was just amazing, and they were so cute. So I commend that. I hope it spreads throughout the whole
I do too.
district, at
Thank
least
you.
in all the elementary schools.
Yes.
Because they look adorable, and they're so proud of their uniforms, and they modeled for me. So let's, try to get that throughout
Absolutely.
every elementary school, because it's wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
And I also looked at the new auditoriums. Beautiful, teachers are raving about it, and everything that we're doing. We get so many compliments when I'm out and, visiting.
Feels good, huh?
It feels good. It feels good.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great. Thank you. So, Trustee Fearon?
Thank you. With relations to the audit committee, as we discussed the last time, we're in the process of our annual audit. Just a reminder, most of our trustees have gotten in, but just a reminder for those who haven't, to return the related party questionnaire, which is a questionnaire to each trustee, which says, asks you a number of questions about whether or not you've had any dealings directly with the district. So we need to get that into our auditors so that they can release the work that they've been doing. We'll also be meeting in the coming week or so, once we have some more information, with our auditors, our external auditors, to look at the first draft of our annual audit, and be able to report back on that.
Will that include the results of, weren't they doing a targeted audit in one or two areas?
That would be our internal, but that will come as well as soon as we get an updated draft of that.
Okay.
Additionally, for the next board meeting, we'll have a resolution in front of this board regarding our new committee member, our new audit committee member. We'll have a resolution on that at the next meeting for you guys to approve. And that's it for now.
Thank you very much. And by the way, going back to curriculum and instruction, I want to add that this course catalog is a big deal.
Yes.
This is a really big deal. I mean, for, I believe, the first time.
Yep.
We had one then?
4 years ago.
Oh, so, but was it continuous, or was it a one-year thing and then it went away and?
I don't know the history, but I know that we're going on tour to start educating parents and staff and kids, including our curriculum night on September
29th. Oh,
We'll be
should
meeting with
work that out.
PTAs, and we really want to make it a living document where kids can be empowered to, make their educational choices that they go through our school.
It's fantastic, and I've heard a lot of districts are trying to go this direction, and here we are, already there. So I commend you guys. This is fantastic. Trustee Jaros, the Wellness Committee.
We did not have a committee meeting today. The next one will be the first Wednesday of the month, of next month at 5:30 before our board meeting. But There is a new chef that Sodexo has hired for the district, and we had the privilege of sampling the fare tonight for dinner, and he's excellent, so.
Awesome. Can I ask you about the McDonald's truck that was parked in front of the high school last week? What does that have does that have anything to do with us? Why was it there? Yeah, there was a truck. It was a McDonald's truck or something. It had McDonald's all over it. I thought maybe they were there for just, I don't know. I don't know why it was there. But it was at it was in the driveway at the high school, and I was like, well, that's,
Definitely got lost.
He ran out of gas.
Yes, okay. I wish I'd taken a picture, but okay, good. Trustee Saunders, special education.
Special education has not met yet, but we do have a list of meetings that go from October 13th all the way through June, and it has the agenda, which should be on our website, right? Okay, so we haven't met. Our next meeting is going to be on October 13th.
All right. Speaking of special education,
What are we speaking of?
yeah, speaking of special education is a very important part of our district, and I know that looking at the statistics, that it is an area that we could. It leaves a lot of room for improvement, and some of our schools that have become focus schools and the reason for it is because of special education, where certain subgroups are underperforming, and we have to do a better job to get them to the point where they are performing, so we could those schools could get out of the focus status and so on and so forth. So I really want to say to all those involved in special education that we know it's tough, we know it's a lot of work, and it is special, but we have, kids that really need our help to, improve and to do well so that, their futures can be secured, and also that we can raise the standards in the schools itself. So we have a lot of work to do there. I know everyone's trying. It's not as if, we're not. But I just want to say that that's the place where we need a lot of attention, is on special education. So I would task those of you that are involved in special education to really take a deeper dive and really help us out there. All right, Trustee.
Excuse me, Ms. Saunders, where are you located? Where's
I'm
that
sorry,
meeting?
all our meetings are at Rebecca Turner
okay.
Middle School and Elementary School, and their meetings are from 6 to 8.
Thank you.
PM.
Yeah.
Okay. Trustee McGowan on policies.
Yes, the policy committee will meet the Friday, is it the 30th? Or 30th, September 30th, a week from Friday at 8 a.m. here, where we'll be reviewing final drafts of a number of policies that we've been discussing over the summer, with the intent of having them up for a first read finally at the next board meeting and implementing a bunch of them. And I will, since Trustee Miller and McDowell are not here, I'll say on behalf of the Family and Community Engagement Committee, which has been meeting together with members of the community for weeks and weeks, multiple times a week, about the event that's going to happen on Saturday. So we have our big back-to-school event this Saturday at noon, from noon to 4, at the high school, the Mount Vernon High School. Everyone please come. It's going to be a really fantastic, fantastic event. We have planned for a full-capacity crowd. We really want it to be all-inclusive. Everyone in the district, all kids and all parents are invited. There'll be games, there'll be activities, there'll be interactive things going on. The theme is mind, body, and soul, and we'll have things to simulate all three of those at the event. There'll be a lot of entertainment. There will be food. There will be prizes and giveaways. So we please encourage everyone to please come, help make it a great, great event. And we really just have fantastic things planned. And I think it will set the bar for future back-to-school events in this district, honestly. And the last thing I'll just mention, especially for the viewers at home, Your kids may or may not receive a punch card for a scavenger hunt that's going to be happening, as well as wristbands. The plan was to get those to them during the school week, and will have to bring those to the event. Whether or not that happens, just please pay attention, bring the stuff, otherwise they won't be able to win the big prizes. And we do have some big prizes as rewards for completing all the scavenger hunt events. And just to give you a preview, it's along the mind, body, and soul theme. There's a number of physical activities that you have to do at the event. There's a number of places you have to visit, like the district table and getting your parents involved, the PTA meetings and stuff like that. And there's various things you have to post on social media ahead of time. But if you can do those, we have some really big prizes available for students of the district. So please pay attention and bring your cards and win some big stuff. Noon at the high school. Noon to 4.
Fantastic. Thank you for that.
Noon to 4.
Noon to 4?
Yeah.
Noon to 4. Thank you. On buildings and grounds, I believe we discussed that quite thoroughly tonight, so I won't bother reporting any more there. Regarding restructuring, we're scheduling right now a meeting to talk about the district need for redistricting and looking at the demographics and how we're going to balance out the population that we have right now into this new K-8 configuration. So we'll follow up with that and come back to you all. And that should conclude.
Yes, just two things. One for the board, just as a reminder, the next meeting is on a Wednesday, not Tuesday, because of the holiday on the 4th, so the meeting will be on October 5th. And just by a point of order, Mr. President, I'm assuming that you're going to continue the same committee structure for the balance of the year? Because we actually hadn't talked about whether or not you wanted to change the committees or not.
I believe the committees are working pretty well right now, unless some other trustees have some other opinions. I believe we should keep them.
Okay.
Also, do you want to have the trustees assigned to a building? We had buildings before.
You know what? We had that last year where all the trustees were assigned to a building. I believe we picked them out of a hat, I recall. I'm not sure, how that fared, but it's something we can certainly revisit. Regarding the subcommittees, the only thing that I would like to see more is some community participation in the subcommittees. I know that audit shaking your head, audit.
It's
It's difficult.
It's not open to
Yeah,
public.
that's the only one that's not open.
It's the only one that's not open to the public.
Okay.
Because each community member also signs a confidentiality agreement before being, onboarded onto the audit committee.
So it is open, but through a process.
Through a process. So
Okay.
that's the process we just did. We
Right.
went through over the summer where
Right.
we invited individuals to submit resumes to that committee. The committee selected an
Selected them.
individual. And so we'll have 3 community members on that. And as they fall off, it's a 3-year term. As each one falls off, then we'll open up the process again.
Again, awesome. So what I would like is to task all of the board members to take it upon themselves to find a community person to bring onto your subcommittee. So we talk about transparency, we talk about notifying members of the community in dialogue. I think having them as committee members, they can see exactly what's going on to know that we are behaving in a transparent way. But I think we should take it upon ourselves to do that. So each committee chair or member should go about trying to find that person or persons. It's not limited to one, but maybe we will limit it to 2, right? Because too many more can be.
Well, we have an existing policy that kind of
does it address how many?
No, but I think it's a natural thing. I don't think it's ever been a problem that we have 87 people trying to join one committee, so.
We've never had that.
Not yet.
Well, not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet, we're growing.
But the issue of involving the public is is a constant one, and one we've talked about before. We've had people talk about, they're upset with when we have certain committee meetings. Is the morning better? Is the evening better? When is the right time? But I think something that is our current policy and something we need to do better at is having Jack here help us with minutes, with publishing the minutes of our meetings, so that when a member of the public can't make a committee meeting, they have a way to find out what was talked about, because it is a public meeting.
I think the meetings probably should be consistent.
Yes.
A certain time of day every month, or whenever you're going to have it.
Right.
And maybe they should be towards the evening when people are home.
It's hard, and each committee is different, right? Like the Buildings and Grounds Committee, you have reasons to physically be in different locations. You have reasons to meet more often. The
And meet
Policy
at
Committee,
6:30 in the morning.
there is no reason for the Policy Committee to meet once a week. There is zero reason for that.
Right.
We're not going to change the policy of the district weekly, on a weekly basis. That would be a
Right.
very bad thing. But so every committee has different needs, and we have different levels of community involvement that's warranted. All of them could use more of it. I totally
That's exactly it.
agree.
We can't all be the same, but
Totally
we could
agree.
all make more of an effort to include the public and to try to be as transparent and to try to memorialize the actions, or not actions, but the items of discussion.
Yeah, Rick, is it you or Dr. Gorman? With the status of the revisions to the school website, what are we doing in terms of, we were going to have a place with like committee tabs and a place where minutes are held so people can just go and see what's going on.
There is a place, there's a house for it, and at the beginning of the summer, I sent an email to all the committee people requesting advance notification about committee meetings, and then copies of a possible agenda and/or minutes after it.
And are they being posted?
That-
If the answer is no, then the answer is no. I just want to know.
I would assume that I received that.
Okay. No, fair enough.
I've received nothing
You
to
haven't from me.
post.
Okay. So, but the idea is, let's just all agree, like, what is the goal, right? The goal is, there's a tab on the website, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where members can go to say, I'm interested in what's going on in the Buildings and Grounds right now. And there's a place where it says, oh, look, this is the next scheduled meeting. This is what was discussed at the last meeting. And it's there. That's the goal, right?
Yes.
That is the goal.
Okay.
I will
Okay.
resend it. I'm sorry.
And we do have a policy, by the way, that says minutes are supposed to be made public within a certain number of days, I think, business days.
If they're recorded. And so the recording of
why
the
we have
minutes
to, yeah.
is the most important thing here. And I know we did a few times, and it's difficult, but we'll do a much better job at that. Was there something else?
Nope, that's it.
No, that's it? All right, anything else? That's it? All right, so I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting of the Board of Education.
Motion.
I will
Thank you.
second that motion.
Thank you very much. And that concludes this meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That concludes this meeting. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah,